Hey guys, it's Phil Granger, better known as the sheriff from Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Don't forget to tune in to Don't Go Out There podcast.
No, Allison, don't go out there. Allison, don't go out there. You don't know what it's like out there.
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Go Out There Horror Movie Review Podcast. Just want to thank all our fans and listeners. We really appreciate all the support. Tonight we're starting a new theme month of film reviews, but before we jump into that, we're just going to knock the business part out real quick. I want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgoouthere.com. You can find all of our episodes, interviews, our celebrity shout outs, all the good stuff on there. And you can find our social medias. We got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, all the main ones. Just search Don't Go Out There and you'll find us. And I'm going to pass it off to Brian real quick, and he's going to give you a quick message from our new sponsor, Loot Crate.
Yeah, so, we get all the time, since we don't do Patreon, how can you guys support us? Well, this is it. We've partnered with Loot Crate, the subscription box service, where if you sign up on any of their boxes, whether it be the Fright box, the Pop Culture box, whatever, use BF15. That's B as in Brian, F as in Franklin, 15 for the amount of movies Nico has seen, or the amount of movies that Mike hasn't seen, which is probably too high. But that will get you 15% off. Just go to our website or lootcrate.com. Make sure you get that code in, so our show gets a credit. We're also right now giving away free personalized picture and sticker with our show logo. Just DM us proof, that you signed up. Shout out to Joe Larson and Shan Petrovich for signing up. Those guys are super fans for sure. It's BF15. Guys, it really helps us out. We're really excited about this partnership.
Definitely. And like I said just a few minutes ago, we're starting a new theme month. We're taking on Horror Comedy Month, and tonight we're kicking it off with Dustin's pick, 2010's Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. Dustin, you want to kick us off why you picked this movie?
Yeah, sure. So this movie had been out probably 7 years before I saw it. I had never heard of it. It was suggested to me by a girl, and we ended up watching it, and I laughed my ass off. And it's been one of those movies. It was on Netflix for the longest time. It's not on there anymore, sadly, but I did order the Blu-ray on Amazon recently. That's how much I love it. It's one of those movies I can just put on anytime, and I'll laugh and I'll enjoy it every time like it's the first time I've seen it. The meta aspect to it definitely has some vibes like it's The Cabin in the Woods. Reminds you of that, which I reviewed favorably. Mm-hmm. So when we got to the horror comedy theme that we were going to do, I've already picked Scary Movie 2, which would have been my other choice. So I was like, hell yeah, brother, let's do it. So it's just one of those things where I was kind of looking for an excuse to pick this movie since I joined the show, and now I've got my excuse to where I don't have to feel bad because it is a comedy. It's a damn good one. So that's pretty much it.
Oh, yeah. I'll go next real quick. I didn't see this movie until last year at some point, watch it on Netflix, and I enjoy the movie. It's funny. I'll get into it later. I don't think the laughs hold up as well to me personally as Scary Movie 2, but I still like this movie. It's enjoyable. It's a fast watch. I think the two actors who portray Tucker and Dale do a great job, and I learned that on the Dead Meat film review, the kill count, that the two actors actually stayed on set, after the set work was done or whatever, just to get to know each other even more and stay in character. So you can tell that they put in a lot of hard work. We had a few of the cast members comment on our Instagram post today, and they were just saying how much fun and how great of an experience this was on set. And you can tell that they had fun on this. So I think this is a fun movie, and I would definitely recommend a watch on it. Brian, you want to go next?
For sure. So let me say this about the horror comedy genre first. I mean, it's so hard to pull off correctly for one. I really love this genre, but like most things, comedy is subjective, for sure. Slapstick just really isn't my thing. But this kind of horror comedy where it takes itself seriously as a movie and a story, and then, interweaves that comedy throughout, and you get that perfect blend of like horror and comedy. This is my favorite genre if you can get that correct. Not just to put down parodies like Scary Movie, because some stuff like that is super quotable and super fun to watch and to do so, but not like this where it's like actually a really good movie as well. And there's not too many movies that can walk that horror comedy tightrope so well, and this one does it for me. The writers Eli Craig and Morgan Jorgensen were huge fans of him, and you can tell in this movie is like a mixture of Friday the 13th, Deliverance, Evil Dead, Wrong Turn, Texas Chainsaw, all molded into one film. And I really am glad I watched it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, so this time watching it was only my second time watching this movie. I caught this however many years ago it's been now, when it was still on Netflix. I enjoyed it then, and I enjoy it now. For a lot of the reasons that Brian said, this is a very well done horror comedy. I like that it didn't go all the way it didn't go super far into the meta, which normally I know I love meta. But sometimes in a horror comedy where it's trying to be funny, sometimes that meta doesn't work for me. And in this one, it's just enough splashed on there where I think it works. It would have been a little bit too Cabin in the Woods like, and I like that this movie is different. It gives us a different explanation for why all these crazy horror things are happening, and I think it does a very, very good job of doing that. Didn't go all the way into the goofy, scary movie territory that Brian touched on, which can work. I think collectively as a group, we both like those first two scary movies at least. So there was definitely something to that. But I love this script, this concept. Brian and Dustin kind of both made a good point where this is a good horror comedy because it's still a good movie. It takes itself seriously enough to where I can invest in some of these characters, and it's not just schlocky, haha jokes for laughs. The humor is in the writing. The humor is in the delivery of the lines. And I think that is really what makes this a really good horror comedy. It walks the line so perfect. Our main characters have depth. Not all of them, obviously. Some of them are on screen to die. But that is, every horror movie. And I love that they kind of go into that trope. You could tell that the writers are big time horror fans when you watch this movie. You touched on all the influences. This movie, same as Cabin in the Woods, has that very cabin fever like thing. You go to the gas station. It's got all the creepy townspeople, the creepy guy behind the counter. It has all of that. It plays into that. But then you get your creepy trucker guys, and they're not bumbling idiots, but they're very just good old boys from the country. And I like the characters of Tucker, Dale, Allison, and Chad for the reasons that they have depth. I care about these characters. I want to see what happens. And a big positive for this movie is that it has a fast runtime. It flies by. I love that about this movie. It is a very good positive. Look, there's a few nitpicks here and there. I'll get into some of the effects, some of the leaps in logic. But again, when you're dealing with a movie that's kind of satire on the genre, you kind of have a hard time knowing if that was on purpose or not. So it's kind of up in the air. But again, a lot of fun and really excited to talk about it.
Definitely. Does anybody got any more opening thoughts for jumping into scene by scene?
Let's do it.
All right. The film starts with found footage of news reporters investigating a cabin. We see the woman struck with a pipe, and the cameraman runs away, but he collapses after something is thrown into his back. The camera now reveals the attacker, a man with a burnt and bloody face and an evil look. Now we get a title card. And 3 days ago, we see a group of friends driving a country road in the woods, mountains area. The college kids are having, just basic college talk, and the truck they almost hit passes them by and gives an ugly stare. They forgot the beer, so they stop at the country gas station. They wander the store as we meet Tucker ordering some home improvement goods at the counter. Allison and Chloe walk outside, creeped out. Dale is outside now eating pickled eggs and is infatuated with Allison. He's terrified to go talk to her, though. Tucker gasses him up somewhat and encourages him to go shoot his shot with her. Dale walks over to Allison with like a scythe-looking thing and asks if they're going camping with an evil laugh. Chad tells them that they want no trouble. They all load up and flee the awkward Dale. Back on the road, Dale vents that he can't talk to the ladies. Tucker says he has inferiority complex and to go after what you want. The sheriff pulls him over, and Dale is in the giving roadhead position. Dale sits up with his shirt off as the sheriff gets to the window.
God damn.
Tucker, hey, that's what it was. Tucker tells the sheriff they're going to their vacation home to do some repairs and fishing. Sheriff tells them only pain and suffering like you can't imagine is up there and tells them to get their broken taillight fixed. Back on the road, and they finally make it to the cabin. Dale calls it perfect and is in awe of the place. They go inside, and I wrote it's a dump, but they love it. There's bones hanging in the house and a bunch of newspaper clippings. Tucker touches a wooden beam and a board from the ceiling with a bunch of nails sticking out of it, falls and almost hits his face, but Dale tackles him to the ground before he struck. The college kids are camping now and around a campfire. 20 years ago today, Chad tells them the Memorial Day massacre story. Flashback. College kids are jamming out and drinking. Then the song changes to a country song. A redneck throws a saw blade into a guy's face, killing him, and one of the girls is stabbed in the neck in the throat area with a machete. Chad says only one person lived to tell the story, and the rest disappeared. Mike comes back to the campfire and says he found a lake and they should go skinny dipping. All right, Brian, that's the first two scenes I got. What do you think, brother?
Yeah, so right off the bat, like the found footage part here kind of confused me. I mean, I didn't know if it was like meant to be misdirection or what. Am I missing with that? I don't know. It just kind of stood out as a little bit out of place to kind of start it off with. The aerial shot of the truck driving down the wooded road was actually taken from 2004's like Without a Paddle, which is another movie I like. That whole "my mind's telling me no." I love that movie. A few more little fast facts. Tyler Labine as Dale actually had to eat numerous pickled eggs for that scene and made himself sick. So I watched an outtake of him like struggling to keep it down, and I have to say that kind of made me laugh. I was a little bit curious too about Dale's hat and what the giver meant. And according to what I found, it's basically like the Canadian version of Get Her Done, which they were in Canada shooting because the writers, I mentioned in my opening, Eli Craig and Morgan Jorgensen, they actually had this thing written in 2006 after basically like sitting around like, us four right here and just talking about movies and laughing together about it. But it wasn't able to get any funding till like 2009 when they partnered with this Canadian company, which I know I went off a little bit of tangent there with that, but I love the scene at the gas station. I like how it's, they kind of let the audience in on the whole joke and let you know that, this isn't going to be your typical horror movie, nor spoof for that matter, which, kind of said in my opening too, that I'm glad they didn't do that. And I like how it takes itself seriously for the most part. Alan Tudyk is freaking amazing to me. He makes this film. I love that dude and everything he's been in, from A Knight's Tale, Dodgeball, Rogue One. He's some of the best parts in all those freaking classics. And he's the streetwise one in here, and he plays him so well. And actually, another little fun fact is that chewing tobacco is actually beef jerky. So I thought that was pretty cool. I laughed pretty hard at that Dale approaching the teens with that Grim Reaper Sith. And my God, them getting pulled over. First off, I did kind of note like why the broken turn signal. I guess I didn't notice when they turned. To me, I thought they were just driving straight the entire time we saw them. But I got that gag, and it was funny to me. That cabin obviously referenced Evil Dead, and obviously the campfire, Friday the 13th franchise. But the if you have a recurring dream about sucking a dick and never do it, are you gay? And everybody was like, yes. That absolutely cracked my ass up. Also in the running, for best kills right off the damn bat with the old college kids, because that damn saw blade to the face and that machete to the throat. I didn't realize how much I missed these kills. Actually, the last month that we haven't reviewed a film with actually decent kills in it. I loved it. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, so I love how this, I kind of touched on in my open, but love how it sets up the typical cabin horror movie. With the standard creepy guy at the counter, creepy townspeople, creepy truckers staring at you. I love how it kind of lets us in that this is clearly people that know the genre, they love the genre, but we're kind of flipping it on its head here because even in this first scene, the guys that are supposed to be creepy and not likable are the opposite, and the teenagers, the college kids that we're supposed to be following, are kind of assholes and very unlikable, minus Allison, obviously. And so, and honestly, in this scene, even Allison. So I like how that kind of flips it on its head, and they establish that very early on the kind of movie that we're in for. I love that. I love the Grim Reaper thing too. I thought that was fucking hilarious. I think Dale as the emotional arc of this movie is a very good choice because he kind of looks, mean, scary, and very, if you're going with a judgmental look, that's kind of the vibe we're getting, and he's a completely different person from that, and I like that he has that depth. He kind of shows it here. He's a bumbling idiot because he's nervous, and it shows don't judge a book by its cover, which is kind of the whole message in this movie, really. I love when they get pulled over, he was getting some head, or that's how it looked. That's what I would have thought anyway. Which is, I mean, hey, to each their own, no big deal there. But Brian, I wrote it down too that and I'm going all the way back to the beginning, and I meant to say it early. I was confused by the found footage until I kind of thought that it was almost just there because they're fans of the genre, and they threw it in there as another nod. That's the only thing I can think of because it really doesn't hold up. But when you think about the kind of movie they're trying to make where they include everything, I guess you need some kind of found footage in there. But back to them being pulled over, I also didn't notice the turn signal, but I was willing to forgive that because this interaction is so typical slasher movie. I loved it. I thought they did a good job, and it was hard to take the scene serious with Dale in the back having no shirt on. That cracked me up. I thought that was good. And when they get to the cabin, I think that I loved the fact that this is their vacation home. It kind of just goes to show you that beauty's in the eye of the beholder. They see a fixer-upper, they like the work. I like that, and we're getting real down-to-earth characters in this horror film. They're supposed to be the creepy guys. Again, flipping everything on its head. And the humor between Tucker and Dale is so genuine in the writing and in the delivery. It's what makes the movie funny. This stuff right here. And the flashback, Pump Up the Jam, reminds me of Don't Mess With the Zohan every fucking time I hear it now. Adam Sandler dancing across the street, hip thrusting down the road. That's what I think of. No. My bullshit is the biggest. That's what I think of every time I hear this song. So I couldn't help but hear it then. And very Friday the 13th, this campfire scene. I like the kills here, but the effects on the throat stab are not very good. Sorry, but I'm willing to forgive it. Minor nitpick.
I think it holds up. I think it holds up personally. I still think it's still okay.
Oh man.
Go watch the kill count. Them effects look pretty bad.
If you watch the kill count, Dead Meat's kill count, like he zooms in and slows it down. I wouldn't have noticed it before then. I think that's why it's 3v1 here, is because I'd never noticed it either till I saw that.
Oh, then I'm not going to let him ruin it. I'm not going to watch it. I'm not.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't. If you think it's good, I definitely wouldn't do that.
I don't think it's good. I don't know. I'm easy with that. It's not hugely terrible. I'm all right with it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we've seen a lot worse.
Yeah,
that's true. But it was just a minor nitpick. I have to look for something that I don't like.
It's better than a CG mask. Go ahead.
Yes, it is. Oh, yeah, hey, you're arguing. You're barking up the wrong tree with that. Absolutely. Ugh. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have. I again really locked into the film. Think it's hilarious, but it's also a good movie so far. And I think that makes it stand out. Some things like Haunted House and I love the Wayans brothers, but some of their stuff is really spoofy, and this is funny in a different way, and I like that.
Yeah, I agree. The thing about this movie that really takes it to that next level is the on-screen chemistry between Labine and Tudyk. I mean, it's great, the camaraderie that they have. They seem like genuine friends, yes. And that's hard to fake. So hats off to them. The found footage, I agree. I had that too. Like, I wish that it would have tied in what the hell it was supposed to, like, why it was included. If it come full circle in the end of the film, That'd have been great, but it didn't, and but it's okay. The gas station, man, it looked like a typical slasher gas station. Like when they're pulling up there, and the funny thing is, it reminded me of Cabin in the Woods when they stop at the gas station. Like it's that kind of feel.
Yeah.
And it's funny because this movie was filmed between Cabin in the Woods being filmed and Cabin in the Woods releasing. So that's, I don't know. Maybe it was borrowed. Maybe it was just coincidental that they're both kind of spoofy of the horror genre, and they both have that kind of gas station there. But either way, it worked. Man, Dale is just so fucking awkward, and it's hilarious because if you put yourself in Allison's shoes, then yes, when she pulls the thing off the shelf and she sees this big lug staring at her from across the aisle there, yeah, that would freak her out. But if you put yourself in his shoes, he's just a big old teddy bear that means no one no harm, and he's just in awe of how beautiful she is. So it's really portrayed brilliantly on both ends. I love that dynamic that they have there. And the line when he's like, "They hate my face," it's just, I laugh every time. And that was actually ad-libbed by Levine. And so that's one of my favorite quotes from this. I say it all the time when I might be out at a certain bar here in Knoxville, and I'll be talking about a girl shooting me down, which doesn't happen often, but it does happen. I'll just come back to the table and say, "Yeah, she hates me. I hate my face." So I use that line in real life. The truck scene when they get pulled over is brilliant, but the line that kills me the most, another one of my favorite lines in this movie, is when Tucker tells the cop, "Yeah, Dale's been struggling with the ladies lately. He's been striking out with the ladies lately, so I thought a little man time might do him some good." And the way he says it, just, oh my God. I almost pissed myself laughing the first time I heard it. That's a great line. The delivery was everything. The sheriff telling him there's nothing up there but pain and suffering, straight out of Friday the 13th, right? And every time someone's heading to Camp Crystal Lake, they try to get warned. There's nothing up there but pain and suffering on a scale you can't imagine. So I thought that was a great way to pay homage to the classics before it. And then you get to the cabin. What a shithole. And just seeing how proud they are just makes them even more likable, because you can tell they're just modest, hardworking guys that want to just have a place where they can get away from the hustle and bustle of the world and just relax, and they want to fix it up. They're proud to own it. It's theirs, but it is a dump. And so I thought that was great as well. Chad is such a fucking douche. There's something about his voice and the way he talks and the way he wears a stupid fucking polo. He really reminds me of Trent from Friday the 13th, 09. He's that kind of
Yes,
frat
he
boy
does.
douchebag. And but overall, great opening set of scenes. I agree with you. The saw blade to the face is one of my favorite kills. Just because it's so fucking, it's brutal. Just chucking a saw blade at someone's face was great. I'll explain later why I didn't include it for my favorite kill, but it would be up there if I had counted it. Overall, great opening scenes. You're hooked. You're drawn in all automatically. It's funny. It's fast paced already. There's nothing about this movie lags, and that really helps.
True. Especially
me. It's been one of my biggest criticisms on movies that we've talked about where the runtime's long. This one doesn't have a long runtime, but one of my biggest pet peeves in movies when there's just too much filler, too much fluff, and it's slow moving, slow developing. This one does not have that, and I already love it through this set of scenes.
No, we already know what the best kill is in this movie, don't we, Dustin?
You damn right.
All right, we're at the lake now, and we see Tucker and Dale night fishing and pounding some PBRs. Tucker takes the last beer after giving Dale a motivational speech. Allison is by the vehicle and gets scared by Chad, who sneaks up on her. He tells her to stop acting better than everyone else, even though he gets it why she does it. He's happy to have the chance to get to know her and starts to kiss her neck, but she's not feeling it. And I wrote, she curves his ass and goes to meet up with the others. They all get in the lake naked, and Tucker paddles towards them. Now we see Allison at the top of some rocks undressing. She screams when she sees them and falls in the lake. Tucker and Dale argue about it and notice she hasn't come up yet. They paddle towards her, and Dale jumps in to save her. They load her up, and Chloe thinks they attacked her. All the kids exit the lake and run off in fear. They tell Chad the hillbillies from the store kidnapped Allison. Next morning, we see Allison in bed at their cabin with her head wrapped up. She gets up and she sees a dog watching her. Dale enters the room and she screams, but he only has breakfast for her, but leaves to make something else. The friends decide what to do, and Chuck leaves to go get the cops, and the rest keep looking for Allison. Jason finds the cabin and shows the rest of them. Dale comes back to Allison's room with eggs and bacon this time. She asks why she's here, and he tells her what happened. She asks where her friends are, and they joke about fashion sense, and they chat about the cabin. Dale gets his favorite board game down to play. Mitch goes to check out the cabin as Tucker watches Dale play games and not help him with the housework. Tucker chainsaws a log, and there's a beehive in it. He runs off while getting stung, and Mitch runs thinking he's being attacked. Mitch runs into like a fallen log branch, impaling himself, killing him. Allison seems to like Dale as they play board games and talk about what she's doing in college. Tucker walks inside with a ton of bee stings on his face. He's pissed Dale's not helping him. Dale goes and pulls the stingers out of his face. Tucker says her friend must be allergic to bees the way he was running from them and him. They tell Allison to relax and they'll go find her friends. All right, Brian, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, Dustin touched on the relationship, and the friendship between them two. Like, it really shines through, especially with these two, like, during this whole fishing at the beginning here. Just that conversation about that last beer and everything, I thought was great. Which, by the way, they had like no money for licensing, so they could only show that PBR label 12 times during this movie. Which there's a few other times like that, with a coupon joke at the beginning of the last scene, I think was supposed to be Arby's, and later the Trivial Pursuit game is actually called just Trivia. But yeah, the chemistry between Tudyk and Labine, I think, is very good and shines through so well, especially in this scene to me. Katrina Bowden, I think, who very much so resembles a young Christine Taylor, I think, does a great job here. With that whole conversation with Chad, there's so much focus on him in that scene, and there's supposed to be, but I think she steals the scene and definitely gave the better performance there to me as well. It stood out. Few fun facts about this group of scenes. When Tucker says "lady," it's actually an homage to Jerry Lewis and sounds exactly the same and not in any way like I just butchered it. But also that water was so freaking cold. They had paramedics off to the side, and when you see that great shot of Chloe shaking, it isn't because she's so scared and is a great actress, which she probably is, but she was apparently freezing to death. And also, I noticed a little mess up here when Dale goes back in to give Allison a different breakfast. It shows like fresh daisies that are alive, but then when he walks in, they're dead. And I thought maybe, okay, like that's on purpose. You're maybe just seeing it from her perspective, and it's, but I don't know. It would have been weird, but I think that it's just a mess up because like later on, they're actually back. The Tucker B scene, definitely hilarious. But probably the only bit I can think of where I'm like, okay, that's not accidentally really happening. I mean, I love the homage to Texas Chainsaw with him, flailing it about. But I mean, like, you're cutting that thing off and you're dropping it and you're running. Like, I don't even think Tucker would be running with that thing. But I do love them running side by side with the gag and them looking at each other like, what? It's, and we get another freaking great death here with them running into that tree. The bee scene actually was one of the originally conceived scenes before the script was written. The wood chipper scene was the other one. Then that comes later. But that's what I was talking about earlier in the opening, that, this movie was just born out of, two lovers of horror movies, just, kicking around funny stuff and laughing. It definitely reminds me of us. I could definitely see us sitting around talking about, MAD, that Mike and Dustin, the movie, copyright, trademark copyright. Don't go out there 2020, which just still a line from the great Trey Rowland there. Go ahead, Mike.
First of all, I'm going to save it, but is this the first movie we reviewed that has the line, "Don't go out there" in it? Because it does. I'll say
that's a good point.
Yeah. I think this might be the first one we reviewed that actually has the line, the title of the show. Okay. Anyway.
I did not steal it, though. I did not steal it.
No. I believe you. It just caught my attention when I heard it. I had to rewind it to make sure I didn't get it wrong. But he definitely, Dale definitely says it later in this film. I have it wrote down when. So, first of all, who the fuck fishes at that time of night? Okay. And look, I've been fishing at 4 a.m, at 12 noon, whatever. I don't know. Nico's the fisherman here. Maybe I'm wrong, but I ain't going fishing at that fucking time of night. Not in that little ass boat.
Sometimes you gotta, you and me go fishing in the dark.
Oh dear God. Oh dear.
Hold
God.
up, wait a minute.
No,
I've heard.
Oh wait a minute.
I've
Was
heard
that country
before.
music reference?
I'm sorry, you're cutting out.
Okay. But also all those dudes that were skinny dipping have flesh eating amoebas in their dick holes. No doubt about it. 100%. That's how that works. We've seen this before. So they were going to die anyway. So good for them for being fodder in this film. Look, it's logical. Here's why I like this movie. It is very logical for that group of friends to assume Allison is being kidnapped by these weird looking hillbilly people. That is logical. What's also logical is those guys are just nice people trying to help her out, saving her, and trying to get the friends' attention. It's just one giant misunderstanding. It's been said a bunch, and I love that about this movie. It explains how both sides could take it as how they're taking it. I really like that about this script. I think it's a really fun way to do it. First of all, I would have taken free pancakes. I know she woke up kind of scared. There's this big, hairy, burly-looking guy coming at me, but the motherfucker has a plate of pancakes. I'm just saying. I'm gonna need you to be a little more thankful, Allison. That's all I'm saying. But I like the character of Allison.
She knows that waffles are superior.
Okay, here we go. Actually, I kind of agree, but that's neither here nor there. But I like the character of Allison here. I think that she kind of shows, she adds like a heart to the film. I know so does Dale, but she adds like another side of it as well. Like she adds something. I love the depth that she has. She's not super shallow. She's very attractive, which by the way, Allison called me sometime. But I like that. I like what she adds to this film. I think it's very prevalent in these scenes. I would have taken free pancakes is all I'm saying. And the bacon too. I would not have been freaked out. Somebody cooks me pancakes and bacon. We are in business. But in the real world, this is where I can't tell if it's a trope or we're doing it on purpose or whatever because it's a satire. Allison would have got the fuck out of there, I hope. Like, honestly, I know I just said I would take free pancakes, but I would have taken the free pancakes and then got the fuck out. Like, sorry. That's the real world. But since this is a movie, I'm willing to forgive it. It doesn't bring it down. It's not a giant leap in logic, I guess, until a little bit later when they start playing Trivial Pursuit and stuff. That's a little too far for me. But one thing I'm not a huge fan of is physical comedy most of the time. However, this scene where Tucker whacks the beehive and starts running around with the chainsaw like he's Leatherface is fucking hilarious. It really does not get any funnier than that, especially because, again, like I said earlier, you could see how that other kid thought that's a maniac wielding chainsaw guy coming after him in the middle of nowhere. But we also, as an audience, know it's because he's being stung by fucking bees. Clearly, he's allergic, as we see on his face later. And that kill when he runs into the limb is badass. That's a good kill. And it makes sense that the friends that find him later think that he was left there for a reason. So all of this stuff kind of makes sense from both sides, and I really think that's a lot of fun. The scene when Tucker gets back to the cabin is also funny, but I don't know if it's unintentional. When his face is swollen and he goes and gets a beer of all things, like it's good stuff. The dynamic between Tucker and Dale is really good, and I think that I really, really love that beehive scene. That is really good. And the fact, look, if I'm Allison, I appreciate your hospitality, but I'm going to go find my friends. You're not going to make me stay here, but that's just the real world me talking. In this movie, I like that Tucker and Dale do it instead.
So this movie, this set of scenes just really drives home the notion that this film is the personification of wrong place, wrong time. It's all, the whole movie is just wrong place, wrong time. She would have been freaked out when she sees them when she hears him say Tucker, and they're on the boat because she thinks they're peeping toms. they meant no harm. And then, yeah, her friends would have been freaked out when they see them putting her body in the boat saying, "We got your friend." So it's just wrong place, wrong time between these hapless hillbillies and these college kids. Dale with the pancakes, that was hilarious. The way he just comes in there, oh, you don't like pancakes? Oh, I'm stupid, and just shuts the door. Love it. But this is where we get the reveal to one of the kids that, these guys aren't all bad. This is just a mistake. They're innocent, because when Dale and Allison start building that dynamic there, so watching it the first time, you start seeing yourself, okay, it's going to work out. She's going to be able to smooth things over, and it's just all going to work out. And then the hilarity starts happening with the miscues and the misfortunes of the kids dying. The chainsaw scene, I agree, hilarious. But yeah, he definitely would have dropped that chainsaw. And let me tell you from experience, pal, you dropped a fucking chainsaw, because I was cutting down a tree branch a year and a half ago, and I didn't realize that there was a hornet's nest in it. And they started coming after me. First thing I did was toss that chainsaw. So, but it's okay. I love when they're running through the woods, because you get that Mitch is like, oh shit, he's trying to kill me. And then when Tucker catches up to him, and they, like you guys said, that they look at each other and they're both kind of like, wait, what are you running from? They're like, are you running from me? And so that was hilarious. Mitch running into the tree branch there. The lighting changed when that happened. It got darker. It almost looked like a scene out of Twilight, how the lighting and the hue changed on his, the way the sun was shining on his face and everything, with the bee landing on his nose. I thought that was funny too, because it was another way of letting you know that this movie doesn't take itself too seriously. It knows what it is, and I thought that was funny. It was a nice little touch. Then he goes back into the cabin and he pours the beer on his face. That was actually Alan Tudyk's idea, to pour the beer on his face. And it was perfectly executed too. The way he talks while the beer is pouring on his face and just spitting it everywhere. And some of my favorite, some of the unsung heroes as far as the comedy of this film goes, is him talking with the swollen face and the swollen cheeks, because the accent that he develops when he's doing that, it just cracks me up. Everything about this movie does. But I agree with what you said, Mike. Real world, she probably would have got the fuck out of there. But you got to understand, man, she's concussed. You didn't see the bandage on her head? She had no reason to be alarmed, other than the fact that when she tries to go talk to her friends, they yell at her and say, "No, stay here." That would have freaked her out. But they're just like, "No, you stay here. We'll go." But regardless, it is what it is. It's not the real world, so I got to suspend my belief here and enjoy it for what it is.
I would just like to say I think that's the second Twilight reference ever in 104 episodes of this show. The first one was blasphemously referring to Twilight as better than 30 Days of Night. I just would like to point that out.
All right, the friends find Mitch's body and they think he was killed. Chad breaks Chloe's phone and throws an axe into a tree. And I just wrote that my man's is psycho. They hide when they hear someone coming. Tucker and Dale, they call out for the college kids, and no answer. Dale carves a message into a log with the axe. We got your friend. Tucker is now at the wood chipper, and Dale is digging a hole, and he's amazed when Allison walks out and he's stunned by her beauty. He's digging a hole for the outhouse, and she jumps in to help out. The friends get to the cabin and see Allison, and they think she's digging her own grave. They charge after them, and Todd kills himself, impaling himself on a wooden spear he was going to attack Dale with. Dale knocks Allison out again with a shovel. Mike charges at Tucker, but jumps right into the wood chipper, killing himself. And I always get to laugh when he asks, "Is he okay? You okay?" Tucker and Dale tell each other what they just experienced back inside. Tucker thinks it's a suicide pact. Tucker mocks Dale for wanting to call the cops and calls him a moron. The rest of the college kids are all crying and discussing what to do. They all are pissed at Chad. He tries to psych them up to kill the hillbillies, and they hear someone driving. The three kids run to the sound of the car and leave Chad behind. Chloe tells the sheriff they're all dead. Sheriff picks them all up and they head to the cabin. Tucker and Dale pull Mike's body out the chipper and drag it away as the sheriff pulls up on them doing it. They tell the sheriff what's been going on. They're scared shitless with what's with what the college kids are doing. Tucker gets pissed when Dale tells the sheriff about Allison being knocked out inside the cabin. They take the sheriff inside to see what's up. Sheriff tells them their potential, court fate, and he touches that broken beam and is impaled with that piece of wood with all the nails poking out of it. He hobbles back to his car and tries to radio for help. The kids all panic in the car as Tucker and Dale argue about fixing crap up. Chuck takes the sheriff's gun but has no clue how to use it and shoots himself in the face, killing himself. Chad appears and grabs the gun, shooting at them as they run inside the cabin. Tucker blames Dale for being a good Samaritan. Dale says he doesn't like fishing and it breaks Tucker's heart. And I had to write, how does a man not like fishing? Dale asks where his dog is. They look outside and see they're holding the dog hostage. Tucker gives Dale the nail gun to cover him as he goes to rescue the dog. Tucker talks Dale through it as he goes outside. Dale shoots at them and they hide behind the sheriff's car. Tucker is shocked by Dale's behavior. Tucker makes it to the dog and frees it. Chad sees Tucker and chases him in the woods with the axe. Tucker hides and tries to camo himself up with leaves and dirt. They find Tucker and Chad knocks him out cold. All right, Brian, go ahead. What do you think of that?
This wood chipper scene is what I was talking about earlier, being one of those, preconceived scenes, before the script was written. And my God, I laugh at that shit every single time. This set of scenes is definitely where everything escalates very quickly. And, you mentioned him saying, "Are you okay?" Just him holding his feet that time. Man, that shit was so gold. The scene with the kids, and Chad, like, this is one of those scenes where it could have gone, I think, spoof really easily and gone full cheesy, but it stopped like just short of that. It still included jokes, with that whole like stripper shoes and Chloe saying stuff like, "Yeah, well, dying isn't very good for you either." Then Jesse Moss as Chad, like, he does such a good job just reeling it all back in here and to take it, to make it take itself seriously, as serious as you can be taken with a popped collar. But for real, Jesse Moss and Cleon Simmons as Chloe do great in this group of scenes. I love that moment when hopefully soon to be friend of the show, Philip Granger, the sheriff, comes around the corner and so we've had a doozy of a day. Tudyk and Granger are so great in this scene, and so is Levine. Honestly, when it gets to that point where he's telling about her being knocked out inside, like you said, and my favorite part is when the sheriff gets stabbed, basically with those nails, and they say he looks like he's going to walk it off. He's going to be fine. That shit's funny. Lastly, that gunshot, actually the effect with shooting himself was actually toned way down. Apparently in one of the versions, like, his brains like flew all over the car. Also, great line in the midst of everything. Tucker got in his feelings, legitimately hurt over Dale not liking fishing. I think that this is probably my favorite group of scenes right here.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Brian, because I think I agree with you on it being my favorite group of scenes. There is so much comedy gold within this set of scenes, and some of it is just naturally there. Like, it's not forced. It's not, spoofy haha. It is just funny dialogue. And again, not a huge physical comedy fan, but when Allison gets hit in the face with that shovel, it fucking cracks me up. I don't know why, but it's just so funny to see her get knocked out again. Like, it's really funny. When Dale's on the ground and the guy is coming down through the spear, and the way he reacts is comedy gold. It's good. It's really, really funny. Really good stuff, and a good kill. So again, this movie just toes that line so damn well. I love it. The wood chipper, another example. Just really wrong place, wrong time, but looks so bad to anyone that's not involved here. This guy's in a wood chipper that this creepy hillbilly guy, or creepy hillbilly looking guy, is using, of course, and anyone's mind would go straight to the fact that he put him in the wood chipper, and the fact that he jumped straight in is fucking hilarious. And the sheriff scene, I think, is really good because it takes itself seriously enough. Like, you still get the funny dialogue with Tucker and Dale, but you get the are they about to be like? Is this about to take a turn where they get in? Where the sheriff gets caught? But then you remember the beam. Go all the way back to where the beam falls the first time, and it kind of just misses him. And maybe we should get that fixed. Well, they never really get that fixed, and finally the beam being so faulty comes back to haunt him, and that's a good kill. The nail kills, I think that's really good. And Brian, you mentioned the I think he'll be able to walk it off. That is fucking hilarious. That is so well written, so well timed. I think it's great. And again, you get to see a little bit of the test of friendship. So it's still funny. Obviously, it's played for jokes, but a little bit of he didn't really like fishing. But he only goes to, kind of make Tucker happy, and his feelings are hurt about that. And like, that's just really good, genuine, like a bromance thing that, it's like me, it's like when Dustin started hating on the Beatles. That's how I felt. I mean, I get his point, but I felt like Tucker in that scene. And I understand. I'm not coming at Dustin, but man, my feelings are hurt. But anyway, but no, I love this set scene. There is so much good comedy here that it's actually probably the last set of comedy that we get, to me. I mean, we get some other funny stuff, especially towards the end, but this is where the movie kind of switches a little bit and starts becoming a pretty decent horror movie, and one that kind of tugs at your heartstrings a little bit too. So there's a lot of funny here, and I think it's kind of like the big send-off to the comedy, and now we're going to kind of take it a little more serious. And this is a really good set of scenes where physical comedy actually works, and I think it's really well done.
Yeah, Mike, I mean, you said it, Bubba. The Beatles are overrated. But anyway.
I never say such blasphemous things anyways.
Sorry. Yeah, so first of all, Chad is way too pumped for some potential murder. I mean, that guy is like, he's been just waiting his whole life to have the chance to kill someone. And kind of, if you're his friend, you kind of have to question your sense of judgment right now, because you're like, damn, man, we rode up here with this guy. Where did Allison get extra clothes? Because she changed clothes before she came back outside there, I believe. So where'd that come from? Anyway, by this point, Allison has worse CTE than I do in real life, and so it's this girl gets hit in the head and knocked out and just knocked silly. I feel bad for her, but it is. You're right, Mike. It is hilarious. Nothing about a woman getting hit, especially a delicate flower such as Allison, getting hit. It's funny, but come on, it's kind of funny. And then
it was fucking funny. This guy hit in the face with a shovel. That shit's funny.
Oh, the wood chipper. Man, I love this scene. So it's just so funny because you can tell like he's just in his zone, bending over, picking up, tossing, bending over, picking up, tossing. He doesn't know that anyone else is around. And just the pure timing of Mike coming haul-assing out of the woods and jumping, and then pick up, toss, bend over. He's in the air. He's in the wood chipper. I thought that was fucking hilarious. I laugh every time. And then you're right. You okay? When he's in the wood chipper. Just God, it cracks me up. And then when the sheriff gets there and they're in the cabin, I do like the irony there when he's saying, yeah, you're right. Not everything is as it seems, as he leans up against a beam that seems like it's okay, but ends up killing him. So I thought that was a nice touch there. And then, yeah, you guys touched on it already, but I think he's going to walk it off. It's so funny. Because, I mean, think about what would you do in that situation? You see him walking, like, okay, maybe he's okay, but God, that cracks me up. And then Dale telling him, you got to turn the safety off. Like, that shit's hilarious to me, too. But here, this scene, you're right. The action is nonstop. We're in it, and it just really kicks it into an even higher gear if that was possible. But it's just more instances of simple misunderstanding. More kids go to dying, so the kids think, yeah, these are killers. They're killing our friends. More kids go to dying, so Tucker and Dale just automatically assume, oh my God, it's a suicide pact. That makes so much sense. Shit just, I love it. And so it's just, I like how it doesn't stray away from the theme. You don't get the, it doesn't stray away and change the theme of the movie yet, because it's setting up for a great finish.
Or now they have Tucker hung by his feet in the woods now, and he's asked what the hell is wrong with him. Tucker offers them beer to let him go. Chad cuts off some of his fingers with the axe. Dale's in the cabin and wakes Allison up. She asks what happened when she sees the blood on his arm. He cries when he has to tell her what happened. He asks if they're on meds and if they forgot to take them. They have his dog and his best friend hostage. A knock at the door and Allison goes to answer it. She sees all the carnage outside and finds the warning message left outside. It's Tucker's fingers inside a piece of his shirt. The note says, "Now we got your friend. Try to get him." Dale gets the machete and goes after Tucker. Allison tells Dale they thought they were a little creepy at the gas station. Dale goes into the woods to find Tucker. He gets jump scared by Mitch's dead body as he finds Tucker's hat. Tucker tells him it's a trap, and Dale's almost hit in the nuts with a wooden spear. He cuts him down, not very gently. Chad and Naomi go into the cabin now. This is where evil lives, he says. They call for Allison. Chad pours gas all over the place, and Allison says it's all been a big misunderstanding. They've only been nice to her, and Naomi tells them about Stockholm Syndrome. Chad says you better not be falling in love with that freak. Tucker and Dale barge in as he has the axe to her neck. Allison tries to calm the situation. She offers to make tea so they can all talk it out. Chad and Dale sit across from each other, and Allison wants them to tell each other's perspective. Chad tells them his parents were attacked 20 years ago at the Memorial Day massacre. They forced his dad to watch as she was tortured. Mom escaped, but Dad was never found. Mother was institutionalized by the time of his birth. Jason and Chloe show up to the cabin now. They look in to see them drinking tea, and Chloe says she wants some. Jason thinks they're being trapped. Dale apologizes, but Chad says it doesn't matter. It was his kind that did it to his parents. Jason barges in with, I think it's like a weed whacker, hitting Naomi in the face. Chad tries to kill the pinned Dale, but misses. He then throws a lamp at Jason's feet, lighting him on fire, and Chloe throws, I guess it's gas on him. The fire follows the gas trail, blowing the house up as Chloe smokes a cigarette, and Chad kicks away the wounded Naomi. And the next two scenes are the ending. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, to be honest, this scene with Dale and Allison, in the cabin, does border on the spoof line a little bit to me and drags on a little bit for the first few minutes. Now, I will say towards the end of it, where she tells him the truth, and it kind of hurts his feelings, that definitely is where it had some redemption. But I may have just jumped to that point, like if I were doing it. That line where he says, "I'm glad I'm not hung like a bear," that was great. That was great. That made me laugh my ass off. Also, where Dale says, "Why don't you goddamn stupid college kids kill yourself?" And what does he say? Like, why y'all keep killing yourself? Something like that. But actually, like what the original line was, is why don't you goddamn stupid college kids kill yourself in school like you're supposed to? That was the original line, but they actually cut it because it was apparently brutally too dark. Which I guess I get. Not many times will I say that in a horror movie, but that one was probably a good choice to maybe cut out. Also have to point out the finger sandwiches dad joke Tucker makes. Look, since I've somehow been coupled the dad jokes guy, which I don't know, they're the best jokes ever. I think they should just be called jokes, but okay. I will point out how awesome that was. And they did venture a little bit into the spoof territory with the fire. Nobody cared my man was on fire. Actually, I know Chloe did, but I mean, she was the only one who actually looked like she was somewhat upset about it. I think they even said he's cackling like a log. Lastly, as this group of scenes, kind of comes to an end, I mean, I get we aren't going for realism, but it kind of took me out of a little bit with Chad, honestly, like, with half his face being burned up, which I know I saw somewhere that, one of the writers was actually really all into the whole Dark Knight, Chris Nolan trilogy when he was writing it. So this is actually lifted directly from the Dark Knight and Two-Face, which I'm not really a big kind of fan here, but the man feels like zero pain at all. Like he's just okay, and half his face is burned up, and he's just gets up and he's ready to go after him like Jason style. So that's kind of my biggest issue with this set of scenes.
First of all, this set of scenes starts out with one of my biggest fears, which is hanging upside down for too goddamn long. No, sir. No, thank you. I think I'd rather free fall out of an airplane. No, that just gives me the heebie-jeebies. I don't like it. I love that scene though, because the spear almost hitting Dale's nuts basically is fucking. That's good comedy. That is fucking great. Going back a little bit, at the heart of this movie, it's a good it's a weird kooky love story in a way. And so you get this scene with Allison and Dale where he says, "I should have known a guy like me talks to a girl like you, somebody had to die or whatever." Man, that you feel that. You feel for Dale in that moment, but you almost kind of feel for Allison because she did judge the book by its cover and she was wrong. And she's trying to, get that across, I believe, here. And so I really like where we're going with that arc. Again, the scene at the house, it is a little too haunted house. What's the name of the spoof Paranormal Activity movie the Waynes did? I don't remember. It's a little too.
Yeah, haunted.
I think it was haunted house.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, it's a little too that. It's a little too in your. But it's different. It's interesting. They kind of sit down, talk about their feelings instead of having the big blow up brouhaha, between Chad and Dale. And, I really like that you get to see Chad turn into a psycho and he tells us the real story. I like that backstory. I think that's an interesting twist on why, what's probably likely if Chad did all this on purpose, it's all been his destiny or whatever. So I kind of like that. But I agree with Brian. When the house blows up, I'm fine with that. And I'm even fine with Chad kind of making it out of there. But I would have, it's like nothing happened to him except, half of his face burnt up. But it looks okay. It's not the effects. It just, I don't know, something about that didn't really sit well with me. It's a little too spoofy, a little too over the top. But I'm willing to forgive it because I like this next set of scenes that it leads into a lot. But this set of scenes, you kind of get that tonal shift to me. There's still some humor here, obviously, at the table with Dale kind of really taking this look into himself very seriously, and Chad's not, obviously, and there's some humor there. But other than that, this set of scenes is more of a setup for the end. Not bad, but definitely not the best set of scenes.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Going back to when he's hung upside down, you fuckers traumatized me by making me watch that gore fest shit movie Terrifier. That when you rewatch it, that's all I could think about. Is last time I saw someone hung upside down in a horror movie, she got split from coochie to forehead. So fuck that. But I did think it was
split coochie to forehead coming to a t-shirt near you. Don't go out there.com.
I did think it was funny, his bargaining chips, tell you, don't kill me. I've got 12 to 14 PBRs and they were yours. That shit was funny because, hey, I gotta be honest with you, I love PBR, so that probably worked for me. And then they cut his fingers off, and the way that they find the fingers reminded me of the Blair Witch Project. When they open the piece of the shirt and it's the ear or whatever it was. But it was hilarious when Dale said his bowling fingers. It's just two fingers. It's his bowling fingers. That was funny to me. There was a goof there because after he cut his fingers off, he still had all four fingers on both hands in that shot. That's okay. And yeah, you touched on it, Mike, but I've got the quote here. One of my favorite quotes of all time is when Allison says, "We misjudged you. I'm really sorry." And he says, "Don't be sorry. It's all my fault. I should have known if a guy like me talked to a girl like you, somebody would end up dead." That's hilarious to me. I feel that. And then here, we get all the barrage of accidental deaths, and it's almost like Final Destination meets America's Funniest Home Videos. It's comical in how it's happening, but some of them are so bizarre and just unbelievable in the way that they happen. It's like the way some of them happen in the Final Destination franchise. But I agree with you, Brian, as far as his superhuman tendencies after he gets blown up. how it didn't phase him. Maybe he got that rush of adrenaline, but come on, man, he just got blown up. But it kind of redeems itself to me because of how well the makeup was done. I thought that was really good makeups, effects for this film. But yeah, I agree with you, Mike, as far as the overview of these scenes. Not great, but necessary. Like it really throws the alley for the oop that is the finish.
All right, here's the ending, guys. Allison says she's a terrible therapist, and we see Chad walk out the house with the axe. They run to the pickup truck, and Dale struggles to crank it up, but finally does. He drives right into a tree, not paying attention. Dale wakes up later to being licked by his dog. Allison is gone, and Tucker is hurt and drinking a beer by a tree. He says Chad took her. Tucker says, I thought this was funny. Tucker says it's going to be a long time before he takes another vacation. Tucker tells Dale about when they caught frogs as a kid, and he tells him that he was better. He didn't let him win. Tucker tells him, you're better than you think you are. She sees you for who you are, and you're a good, smart, and strong man, and not as ugly as you think you are. Life is short. You got to go after what you want. He tells Dale to whoop that college kid's ass. Dale runs off to find Allison. They make it to the old lumber mill. Chad has Allison tied to a log, about to run her through the mill. He kisses her, but he doesn't think it's good enough. You got to be more passionate. Dale makes it inside and puts on some blue-collar worker armor. Allison is scared by his get-up, but he finally goes to help untie her. The lights turn on, and Chad comes on over the intercom. He turns the saw on, and the log that she's tied to starts to creep towards the saw. Dale uses the chainsaw to partially cut the rope, but Chad kicks him over. Dale and Chad fight now. Dale throws an axe that cuts the rope, and Allison makes it free. Back to fighting Chad, and he knocks him over. Dale and Allison run away. They try and block Chad off from the room they're in. They look for weapons. Allison finds a newspaper article, and it reveals the redneck from the Memorial Day massacre is Chad's actual dad. Chad attacks Dale, but he shows him the article, and Chad can't believe it. Dale throws the chamomile tea at him, causing anaphylactic shock, and he falls out a door to the ground. The cops and news show up to cover the situation. Tragedy of mass suicide. Now we're in the hospital. Tucker's in the hospital, and Dale checks in on him. He's high on meds, and he's got his fingers reattached, but they definitely don't look like his fingers. He gives Tucker a PBR and gives him a bendy straw, and then Tucker asks Dale if he asked Allison out, and he says that he's taking her bowling. At the bowling alley now, Dale tells BJ, some other random guy, that life's short and to be yourself. Dale got Allison a gift, and it's a pink helmet. She apologizes for what all happened. She kisses Dale and says she feels the same way as him. We hear women scream as BJ is being a creep, and Dale and Allison make out as the end credits roll. Brian, what do you think about the ending?
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot here. But first off, the wreck scene I thought was really well done. And apparently them implying, that Tucker may have died didn't really hit well with test audiences. So I read they actually added that hospital scene a little later, which I'm glad because you get the finger bit, and I really thought that was pretty funny actually. Also, they actually scripted a long car chase at the end where Chad was on the roof of the truck, but apparently it was too expensive, and they also wanted to go possibly with another wood chipper ending, but since it had already been done, they ended up going with the kind of the Halloween ending with them falling off the balcony, which I mean I was fine with. One other fun fact: stuntman actually looked nothing like Chad and Dale for the fight scene. So a lot of it actually has Levine and Moss actually in a lot of it. All in all, the ending was okay. I mean, I could have done without that whole his dad was a hillbilly reveal. Honestly, I think that they should have just had them fight and probably not do that whole thing, or maybe done in like the previous group of scenes. But I will say, it ended on a great note because I love the ending bowling scene. I love it a lot. So that's kind of where I'm at with the ending there.
Yeah, so I don't have a lot written down, but I think it kind of goes without saying that the end here is good, but I feel like they tried to pack a little too much in. You know, Brian, you touched on that reveal that his dad is the hillbilly. That almost wasn't necessary. I get it. I'm okay with it. I just feel like they maybe tried to stuff, 10 pounds of shit in a 2-pound bag. So a little bit too much there. But, that's a nitpick. Very minor. I love Dale here in this set of scenes. And the interaction with him and Tucker, the frog story, again, just kind of hitting something we've already discussed on the show, which is the genuine friendship you see between the two. And you see, it's the complete opposite of how most of these horror movies go. I know I've already said it, but you get this, redneck looking guy coming to be the knight in shining armor, literally, to beat the shit out of this preppy burnt face kid. It's the complete opposite of how these movies normally go. And I like that they flip the trope. I think it's really good. I think that the hospital scene is fucking hilarious. When he brings in the PBR, which I'm glad it was a PBR and not quote unquote beer that they had on some of the other cans throughout the movie. They got to actually use the label. You touched on that earlier, but the bendy straw just makes, God damn it, it makes me giggle then. It made me giggle then. It makes me giggle now. Just really a nice little funny add-on to that scene. And I love this bowling scene. Normally throughout the movie, if something ends up happening, Dale and even Allison kind of go to check on it, but they're way too busy macking to give a fuck what happened over there. It was all a misunderstanding over there, so fuck it. We're here. We're making out. And I liked it. He gets the girl. I think it's a really good, happy ending to the movie. There's some stuff here that I feel like kind of veers into that spoof territory, but it's not so bad that it ruins the rest of the movie for me. I think it's still a pretty good ending. And I guess that kind of ties back into the found footage because that's Chad at the beginning. Am I wrong? Am I wrong about that? I don't know. That's the way I took it, which again still doesn't really go into it, but I'm guessing that's it. But I think it's a really good ending, and I love the battle, quote unquote, between Dale. First of all, chainsaw against pipe. Good fucking luck, Chad. You are definitely a Chad with that move. So I like it. Maybe not the best ending, but a very happy ending, which I was good with.
Yeah, first of all, before I get into the rest of it, I want to say, yeah, you're right. That's the way I took it too with the found footage. Like that was Chad at the end. But what I meant earlier when I said I wish they'd have tied it back in is I wish they would explain that or something because we're just left to assume, and we don't know who the fuck those two people were.
Exactly.
Anyway, this set of scenes. So when they're having the heart-to-heart and Tucker's telling him, you go after the girl, another just great quote right there when he goes, "You're a good-looking man," more or less. Like that shit cracks me up because it's kind of one of those backhanded compliments, like "bless your heart." I love that. Dale gears up like he's going to fight fucking zombies. Like he looks like he could have survived the train to Busan the way he was gearing up with the gear, with the ammo or the armor and everything. They put Tucker's fingers back on, and they're not his fingers. He's got the painted fingernail. That's a great, hilarious touch because the way that Dale's is like, yeah, looks great. But I like how we get the feel-good story here because if this was your classic horror movie, we've all said it before, I believe, but we don't always necessarily like a happy ending. Some movies you need everyone to die. You need the bad guy to win. But since this is a lighthearted horror comedy, I enjoy the fact that we get the happy ending with the guy getting the girl. And, we get the scene where he gives her the helmet, which is fucking hilarious because, like I said, she's got to have CTE by now. And then the fact that when the dude's creeping the old lady or creeping the ladies out at the bowling alley, and she asked, "Should we go help him?" And Dale says, "Hell no," and starts kissing her again. I like that. That's a nice touch because that shows that he's grown as a person. Because the last time he helped out, Tucker blamed him for being a good Samaritan. He blamed him for all the kids dying. And so he's like, hell no, last time I helped someone, basically, everybody died. So I'm gonna stay here and kiss you. I like the ending of the movie. I agree. It maybe could have been better. But by this point, they would have really had to fuck it up for me to hate the ending because I've enjoyed the rest of the movie so much. So all in all, very pleased with it.
All right, y'all got any more final thoughts before we get into a fan question?
No.
All right. I think this is specifically for Dustin. Sean Irwin asked on Facebook, I love this movie. Since it's Dustin's pick, replace an actor with David Arquette that isn't the sheriff. Would it work?
I mean, first of all, David Arquette is, he's a generational talent. You can drop him into literally any movie that's ever been made, and yes, it's going to work, and a lot of times it's going to be even better. The only one that I could see him, maybe one of Chad's friends, though, but he's too old to play the part. So sadly, no, I don't. I'm glad they went with Labine and Tudyk here because the chemistry they had was unable to be duplicated by anyone else. The sheriff would be the only answer.
Hell no. That sheriff was bad enough. We don't need Dewey on the fucking scene.
Dewey wouldn't have went out like a little bitch. He would have survived it. Look at what he's been through.
Would he have walked it off?
He would have walked it off. He wouldn't died by being nailed in the face. Man's literally had his spine rearranged by a knife.
That's just because Scream's too lazy to kill somebody off, but go ahead.
You're thinking too much into it. Go ahead.
I can't wait until he dies in this new Scream. That's all I'm going to say. So ready for Dewey to just break on through to the other side.
Wow.
All right, I'm just messing with you, Dustin. Let's jump into fun facts.
Yeah,
I've only got 2 of them. They're both from IMDb. The film was shelved for over 3 years before it was finally released. And the last one I have is Jesse Moss. And I think, is it pronounced Chelon Simmons? They both appeared in Final Destination 3 in 2006. Does anybody else got any fun facts? There really wasn't that many on IMDb,
I got
honestly.
2.
Go ahead.
So there is a DVD extra that features the film through the college kid's perspective and portrays Tucker and Dale as actual murderers. It's only, I think, about 20 minutes long, and it wasn't actually the director didn't actually like the way it turned out, but that's a neat little feature there that you can actually see it from their eyes and see it as a what if they really are killers. And then the other one I have is a sequel was originally planned for this film called Tucker and Dale Go to Yale. That's Yale, like the university, the Ivy League school, which is funny because the premise was it was going to be a Good Will Hunting meets Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I'm here for it, to be honest with you. But in 2017, Alan Tudyk said that a script was completed, but it was disappointing and unlikely to move forward. And here we are, 2021, and still no sequel in the works. So I'm guessing they've scrapped it all together, but I would be here for that premise.
I only have 2. They actually used the Dark Knight score in place of the real one before they actually got it in post, and that's actually when it leaked onto the internet and actually gained most of its popularity. So there's actually a version out there with the score from the Dark Knight on there, which is pretty cool. And the last one I had was in Deadpool 2. There's actually supposed to be an Easter egg. There is an Easter egg to this movie with 2 rednecks, and Tudyk came back to reprise his role, and so he did it, but Labine for some reason did not. So it's just Tudyk, but it still stands as an Easter egg to Tucker and Dale in Deadpool 2.
Yeah, so I think the real reason this script probably didn't get lit for a sequel is because this movie had a budget of $5 million and it made around $5.7 million total box office. So not a big money maker, but definitely a cult classic. I think if it was on Netflix for so long, it definitely has a cult following, and I think rightfully so. But it definitely it wasn't a big money earner. But with a title like Tucker and Dale versus Evil, kind of hard to know going in, but I think this movie, because of Netflix and because of other streaming platforms, is very loved for a reason.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think a lot of it had to do with the limited release and everything. They struggle to find distribution.
Right.
So it is what it is.
All right, let's jump into our least favorite kill, and the rating. Who wants to go first tonight?
I'll go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, cool. So again, kind of let all my thoughts be known. I think it's a really good this movie does a really good job. Tone line, horror comedy. I love the script. I love the concepts. I think the horror parts are good. The comedy parts are good. It's a really nice blend and mix of the two genres. And I think where so many other people get it wrong, this movie gets it right. It's not a perfect film, but it is very enjoyable. My favorite kill, and I may be alone on this, but my favorite kill is the nail to the sheriff's face. That was unique to me. I don't know if I've ever seen it done like that. I thought it was pretty damn unique, so it became my favorite kill because of that. My least favorite is Chad, and it's a funny kill. It is. So in the sense of a comedy, it's really good, but it's also not a great horror movie kill. I didn't particularly like that very much, so my least favorite is Chad. I gave this movie a 7.5. I wanted to go 8. I really did, but there's just some of the last probably third of the film that gets dragged down a little bit with some, the scene in the cabin and then some stuff at the end. But I think this is a really fun movie. I highly recommend it to anyone that really, if you want to dip your toe into horror and you're not a big horror fan and you're showing someone that won't watch the genre because it's scary to them, I would recommend showing them a film like this so they can get what horror really is. Horror and comedy really do go together well when it's done right, and this movie does it right. So I gave it a 7.5.
Okay. I'll go ahead and go real quick.
I'll go after you, Dustin.
Okay. So, it's no secret, like I said, throughout this whole review, I love this movie. The rewatchability factor is through the roof for me. The enjoyability factor the first time doesn't change that much if I throw it on now, and I've seen this movie a ton. The acting is great. The camaraderie between the two lead characters, just everything, what they were able to pull off with such a low budget, is just really great to me. So my favorite kill, I went with Mike and the wood chipper. So like I said, that shit is hilarious. The way it's done and the delivery of the lines, "Are you okay?" And then when they're dragging his body, "He's heavy for a half a man." That shit just, I thought that was great. Least favorite kill for me, I went with Mitch running into the tree limb. Now, the setup for it was great. Him running through the woods thinking he's being chased, and then the realization, wait, you're not chasing me. We're looking at each other right now. But it's just from a practicality standpoint. Now, I know that sounds weird because we watched someone get hit in the face with a weed eater. We got people get set on fire. But it's just, you got to be, your awareness, if he was a Madden character, his awareness would be -4. You got to be aware of your surroundings. He ran straight into a tree limb and went out like a little bitch. So that's my least favorite kill. My rating for this movie, though, was an 8.75. I know that's probably higher than the rest of y'all, but I unapologetically love this movie.
Okay. My favorite kill is Mike and the wood chipper as well. I wrote it's a horrible way to die, and I always laugh when Tucker asks, "You okay?" My least favorite kill, I went with the 80s chick or whatever who was stabbed in the throat with a machete just because I thought it looked so bad. But, you could have picked either of the two news anchors at the beginning as well. I think the actors who portrayed Tucker and Dale did a great job. Specifically, Alan, is it Tudyk? Is that how you say it? Alan Tudyk?
Yes.
I feel Tucker carries this movie. The college kids play the typical slasher kids well. Fun kills and good gore for the most part. A few of the cast members, like I said earlier, they commented on our post just saying how fun this was to be on set, and you could tell. I like this movie for what it is. The first time I watched it, I got several good laughs, but with more rewatches, it's just the laughs aren't as good to me. I feel like after we get in the house, it does lose me a bit, except the scenes with Tucker. Specifically, like after the wreck, there was nice dialogue between the two. But Dale fighting the Chad scenes, it just made me miss Tucker, honestly. Still enjoyable, but doesn't have the same lasting effect as Dustin's other pick, Scary Movie 2. But I still recommend this to anyone for a quick watch. But I gave it the same rating as Scary Movie 2. I gave it a 6. But I would pick Scary Movie 2 over this, personally.
Okay, yeah. I short and sweet. I thought the horror aspects were well done. The comedy was on point. It's definitely a movie I feel like that I could pop in whenever. I have only watched it like 1.5 times probably, so I can't speak to it going downhill after multiple rewatches or not. But as of this one, I really liked it. I actually I got to do worst death, and almost just rated it. Worst death to me was the dude that was impaled in the hole with when he fell on the stick and fell on Dale. I don't know. It just didn't really look great to me. Like, it almost looked like, when you stab somebody with a sword and it goes, in their armpit. That's just kind of, I don't know. It just didn't look good to me. And I loved the saw blade kill at the beginning. That's still kind of my favorite one, just because it came out of nowhere.
That was a great kill. It was a great kill.
And I actually rated this one an 8.
All right, so that puts our composite score at a 7.5625. And I wanted to say that I mentioned it earlier that I was going to say why I didn't count the saw blade one, and I remembered, Nico, when you said your least favorite kill. So I didn't count the ones that happened in sepia tone filter because I don't know if they were really kills. What I mean by that, like, you got the news reporter that dies at the first, and then the guy that killed, that is in the lost footage or the found footage. Those two, you don't know if they really died or what that was really all about. And then when Chad is telling the story of the people getting killed, and we see the machete to the throat and the saw blade kill, I don't know if those really happened or if that was just a ghost story. So that's why I didn't include them. As far as the way they were done, yes, I love the creativity of throwing a saw blade, but I just went with tangible characters that I know were a part of the film.
Bro, he ninja starred that saw blade so fucking epically. It was awesome.
It was awesome.
What'd you say our cumulative was for this, Dustin?
7.5625.
We nailed IMDb. We got theirs is a 7.5 with 165,480 ratings. We were basically right on it.
Wow. Again, it's almost like we know what we're doing over here. One thing I forgot to say, and I touched on it briefly, but this, I believe, is the first movie we've reviewed that has the name of the show as a line of dialogue in the film. Dale looks at Allison as she goes, when she wakes up the second time to go outside, Dale says, and I quote, "Don't go out there." So I believe that's the first time we've had that in a movie we reviewed. Maybe someone else knows. I don't know. But from what I remember, it's the first one.
What's Dale's character's name? Or his real name?
Tyler Labine.
Hey, Tyler Labine. I appreciate the shout out, man. But this, we got a couple more another bonus show this week. Since I think it's Sunday, Valentine's Day. We're going to be reviewing the 2001 holiday-themed horror movie Valentine with Denise Richards and former, how would you say it? She was that chick in Scary Movie or Scream 4, excuse me. The cop, what's her name? Marley something, I can't remember. But we're taking on Valentine. It's going to be a fun movie to review. And Brian, you want to announce your pick for horror comedy?
Oh boy.
Not only my favorite horror movie, it's my favorite horror comedy. It's my favorite movie of all time. Yeah. Ghostbusters is coming up next week.
Oh boy, big one. Can't wait.
I'm not gonna lie, Ghostbusters might be the most nervous I'm ever been doing a show, just because I don't want to let Brian and Dustin down with my scene by scene. I might send y'all my script I write up just to see if it passes y'all's y'all's satisfaction.
Don't worry about us. You'll have to answer to Zool if you fuck it up. So
I was gonna say Zool.
Listen, I know that it's not the most perfect movie in the world, so I will accept the 9.9 rating. I will accept that as an option.
Yeah. I'm very sorry to the both of you. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. me and Mike might actually be on the tag team for the first time ever.
Hey, no, I think Nico might have it a little lower than me, but I definitely don't have it at a 9.9.
I can tell you that.
Wow.
Also, speaking of Valentine, I'm going to go ahead and get an early one in here. Denise Richards, call me sometime. Okay? All right. Sorry, something I said?
No, do y'all got any more final thoughts on I almost said Valentine. Final thoughts on Tucker and Dale before we get out of here?
No.
Nah, I love it.
Hey, fun pick, Dustin. It was a fun watch.
I was about to say fun pick, fun
time watching the movie.
Absolutely.
Hey, we really appreciate all the support. Y'all have been great fans. Check out Loot Crate. Use our code BF15 for 15% off. And if you got an iPhone, iPad, go give us a 5-star rating while you're at it. We really appreciate that. Y'all have a good one. Just want to remind everybody.